well, I'm super excited to be here. There was an awesome panel just now. I'm very inspired, to be honest. Like, I'm here just to really, I guess, further some of the thoughts around the real-world impact and how, how this can actually bridge into what we think about with Web3 grant programs. Going next slide. Just in case, if you didn't catch it during the last panel, here's some quick explanations just to give some context of some of the use cases I will dive into today. So Stellar, it's an open source, decentralized layer 1 blockchain network built for everyday financial services and products. With over 15 billion operations and 9 million accounts since launch, Stellar powers a global network and ecosystem of hundreds of thriving businesses. Its development is led by the Stellar Development Foundation, a nonprofit founded in 2014 with the mission to create equitable access to the global financial system. At the foundation, my team, I think Elizabeth will come later on as well, who is on my team, we manage the Stellar Community Fund, which is an open application grants program that leverages community input for project support and funding allocation. Since 2019, the fund has allocated over 34 million in XLM, which is Stellar's native currency, to over 500 projects. Ranging from applications to infrastructure to financial protocols and dev tooling. These are some high-level output metrics. They don't say anything about the ROI or what kind of impact these projects have made. But it's the founders' unwavering efforts and real-world impact that to further financial inclusion that has kept me at the foundation for nearly 5 years and gets my team, me and my team and I out of bed to work at the foundation every day. So yeah, let's give you an idea, hopefully the video will work, of what kind of impact I am talking about. And I'll walk you through one of the funded projects called Decaf from the lens of one of their end users. Meet Zach. Zach is an entrepreneur who conducts business in San Francisco. Now, not San Francisco in California, but San Francisco, a rural town in Colombia without basic financial infrastructure such as banking. He set up a school for digital skills in 2 businesses, one of which a virtual assistant center. With new opportunities in towns, locals such as Juliana weren't forced to leave and could actually find work in town in a place that they call home. But there was one problem. How to pay his employees in a country with strict financial controls and in a town where no one has a bank account.
The solution that I found was just to withdraw cash from ATMs. So I've gone and gotten a bunch of debit cards and I've just spent my day going around the city from bank to bank to bank making withdrawals in cash. I had special clothing constructed, so I had a jacket and jeans with little pockets in them. Throughout the day I would just have to collect money in a non-suspicious way, and then I'd get on my motorbike and I'd ride out to the village so that I could pay everybody's salaries.
So you're riding a motorcycle through rural Colombia with months of people's salary in your pockets?
2 weeks to a month. I'm not stupid.
2 weeks to a month.
I might be a bit casual with all of this, but I'm not a fool. I have all the protocols. Like, this Jeep is bulletproofed. I never go to the same bank twice. But even if you've got every plan in the world, even if you set everything up, the problem is that at the end of the day, you've got a bag of cash.
All right, well, that was quite funny, you think, but actually on October 30th, Zach got robbed and shot while collecting cash in Medellin. So he nearly died, he went into a coma, and he woke up after 3 days. Now, I never met a person with a higher risk tolerance than Zach. He's quite amazing, but at this point, the risk was simply too high to continue to operate the same way, and Zach considered quitting altogether. That's until he met Rick, one of the co-founders of Decaf.
How do I pay these people? And we're just sort of brainstorming, and I happened to be working in a space that happened to have a really perfectly good solution for this.
That solution is called Decaf, a decentralized payment app co-founded by Rick. The app allows people without bank accounts to send and receive cryptocurrencies. In Zach's case, he pays them in digital US dollars, and when they want to, they can go into town and convert the money into local Colombian pesos. It's no coincidence that Decaf is so perfectly suited for Zach's problem. The app's co-founder, Fernanda Orduña Rangel, comes from a town in Mexico just like San Francisco.
Xochitepec es un pueblo pequeño en donde las personas se manejan con efectivo. Eso ha sido desde siempre. Entonces, cuando nosotros estábamos creando esta aplicación, pues buscábamos que fuera algo que le brindara oportunidades a las personas, pero de igual forma se adaptara a lo que ellos están acostumbrados.
There are hardly any fees for converting crypto to cash, and the whole process happens through MoneyGram. But wait.
But wait, indeed. Let's first hear from Juliana, who works as a virtual assistant.
Si había sido una alcancía o algo así. Pero con esa alternativa sí he podido ahorrar y he obtenido ganancias.
Ya la necesidad de que el mundo va avanzando y la gente no se puede quedar atrás.
Porque en realidad las condiciones de nosotros como mujeres del pueblo han mejorado mucho, pues como en la parte de los hijos, de poderlos mandar en mejores condiciones, pues como para el tema del colegio.
Siento que el día de hoy por fin vi realizado una idea que yo tenía de resolver un problema que yo misma he vivido, yo misma he experimentado, y entonces el ver a estas mujeres diciendo sus experiencias, cómo las ha ayudado, pues realmente me impactó demasiado.
Es gracias a que finalmente tenemos acceso a herramientas que nos permiten salir adelante y reescribir la historia de lo que nosotros somos como colombianos. Básicamente esto simplemente nos ayuda a llegar más rápido a tener un mejor futuro.
This renewed access to financial services unlocked unforeseen real-world impact on the town's economic opportunity, well-being, and even education for the future generation. So, going back to the topic of this talk, right? The type of impact may differ from the impact that you've just seen, may differ from the impact that you're talking about in your grant program. And that's why I'd like to start by categorizing impact in 3 dimensions. One, the impact of the grant funding and support has on the project itself. So think grants providing the ability to build new products or services, conduct daily operations, expand their team, like conduct marketing, raise funds, etc. So in the case of DCAF, they were able to build out their integration with Stellar and MoneyGram with the grant funding received. 2, what impact the output of the project has on the ecosystem. And so this is related to like internal ecosystem health metrics such as active accounts, like transaction volume, TVL, functionality, etc. So in the DCAF example, the integration with MoneyGram allowed brought another wallet using this critical on and off ramp, which enhances the ecosystem's functionality and reach. 3, what impact the output of the project has, supported by the ecosystem's health and functionality, on the real world in relation to global issues on like social, economic, environmental issues, for instance. So in DCAF's case, like the integration with MoneyGram unlocked the ability to do business in a town historically excluded from the financial system, leading to new economic opportunity. So there's already going back. There are many grant programs who measure project and ecosystem impact to some extent, right? We supported by tooling such as Karma Gap, Metrics Garden, Open Source Observer, Hypersearch, and Thrive Protocol. However, measuring these real-world impacts in the Web3 grant space has yet to be solved for several reasons. 1, it's pretty hard, as you might have noticed from a previous panel. Real-world metrics are difficult to verify and compare to one another. There's a lot of, and in grant programs, there's a lot of different types of projects. There's even, even in a single app like DCAF has a number of different use cases that impact different situations and different geographies and audiences. It's also hard to create a good baseline, as available research may be outdated or not aligned with what they're looking for. And 2, unlike the Stellar Development Foundation, whose mission it is to create equitable access to the global financial system, many grant programs or foundations may historically not have outcomes related to real-world impact, and as such don't have an ability, incentive, or priority to do so. But there's change happening. Many grant programs are maturing and actually supporting the development of long-term, impactful projects in their ecosystem. So over the last year, there have been an increasing amount of in conversations. There's also about impact measurements in the space. Like Medigov is one of the organizations that leads it, and there have been an increasing amount of conversations. And when I looked at the schedule this morning, I was excited to see not 1, but like 7 or 8 sessions related to real-world impact, which is a super exciting development. You bet I'll attend all of them. So, why measure real-world impact? If I didn't have you at the decaf video, for obvious reasons, there's also some other reasons why we are interested. More impact and higher grant ROI in the long term. Wait a minute. How can measuring impact lead to more impact? Well, actually, by requiring projects to measure impact early, they can pivot quickly if results don't align with the goals, ensuring resources are focused and purposeful with high ROI initiatives. Second one is adoption and policy. Demonstrating real-world benefits of blockchain strengthens our position for advocating for reasonable regulations and broader adoption. This is something we learned also in SDF's work to support policy efforts. So the third one is tap into especially non-Web3 impact investing opportunities. Verifiable alignment with goals such as the UN SDGs can attract non-Web3 impact investors, expanding funding resources and amplifying positive change driven by blockchain projects. And lastly, it can also unlock new governance opportunities within grant programs. Within the Stellar Community Fund, we leverage something called Neurocorm governance, and where we can adjust voting power based on a project's proven impact, creating a feedback loop that rewards impactful decisions with greater governance influence. All right. So in much of the research that I've read and conversations I've had with people such as QualiPay, which also happens to be a Stellar Community Fund award winner, by the way, on impact measurement, the secret sauce, or maybe not so secret sauce, lies in leveraging theories of change. Now, the theory of change is a strategic framework that maps the path from inputs to long-term impact, ensuring that every step in the process aligns with the desired mission. So with Web3 grant programs, the framework can help awarded projects, as well as the grant program itself, to visualize the change they aim to create, ensuring resources are effectively used and projects remain focused on actionable and measurable outcomes. So by breaking down the projects into clear stages, inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes, it helps identify early on whether a project is on the right track to deliver its intended impact, allowing for timely pivots if needed. Most grant submitters will say, and I'm sure some of you will agree with me, I need X dollars, usually the maximum amount that the grant program can provide, to do X that will result in Z. And that is even if they add the last part, right? But theories of change are actually created in verse. To create a theory of change, you start with outlining the desired outcome, powered by the relevant outcome metrics to what extent you'd like the current situation to see changed. And this means you'll need to conduct research to understand what the baseline is and what variables have historically impacted this baseline. Then define the tangible results and outputs that you need to produce in order to achieve the outcomes. And third, what activities you'll need to do to undertake in order to get the outputs. And finally, what inputs or resources invested you will need to be able to conduct the activities, which can include funding, development time, partnerships time, BD, etc. So if your also grant program has outcomes related to a larger mission or to drive systemic kind of long-lasting real-world change, we also recommend to add a long-term impact section as well. And these long-term impact sessions can possibly be related to global mission goals such as the UN SDGs or the ESGs. The first one here, launched by the United Nations in 2015 as a global call to action to achieve 17 specific goals by 2030, addresses challenges such as poverty, inequality, or climate change and education. Also, this is 2030. It gives us less than or a little bit over 5 years to solve all the world's problems. So we'll better get on it. We got this, right? There's other goals as well, such as the SDGs. Hey, with blockchain, we can do it, y'all. Such as originated in the kind of investment and corporate sectors to really help evaluating companies' long-term sustainability and impact into environmental, social, and governance. So, for instance, like a long-term impact goal related to financial inclusion can be a key driver of multiple SDGs, such as solving for poverty or for hunger or health, education, etc. Oh, you're taking a. There's also I actually have if you don't have time to take a picture, I do have some resources at the end. No worries. There's also several impact measurement standards and frameworks that you can use, such as the SROI which converts social and environmental benefits into financial value, showing the return for every dollar invested. There's also the IRIS Plus metrics from GIAN, the Global Impact Investing Network, which provides a set of standardized metrics for impact investment. I've actually been playing around quite a bit with this one, as it allows you to create a framework for your desired outcomes. There's also like country-specific indicators, such as the ones that I have here for the US, that focus on specific social and economic indicators, such as poverty reduction, financial inclusion, or economic development. All right, I feel like I'm a bit on time here, so I'm going to move to the next slide to see, to introduce you to a company called ClickPesa Debt Fund and one of their customers and how it impacted them, so I can actually show you how a theory of change could work with a use case. No? I guess not? All right. Hey, can we play it? Okay. All right. Oh. We might have to skip to the next one. For time's sake, like I have a very nice video which is linked in the resources, but it actually goes into a company called ClickPesa and a use case on microfinance. More than 95% of the businesses in Tanzania are small or medium enterprises, or SMEs for short. And these contribute to about 1/3 of the country's GDP and generate up to 40% of total employment. However, there's a significant funding gap for SMEs, particularly women-owned businesses. Of the 3 to 5 million SMEs in Tanzania, it's estimated for 70% to not have access to formal credit, and this is like for a bank account. This does not include credit of friends and family, but the formal credit that a normal business can acquire. So ClickPesa actually aims to bridge this gap by leveraging sellers' efficient functionality to manage financial services, and recently adopted the ability to leverage a DeFi protocol on Stellar to connect lenders and borrowers directly. And I kind of wanted to walk you through a preliminary kind of use case that I put together on the theory of change for this particular use case. Again, it's very basic, and kind of like it can go in many more different levels, but it kind of gives you an idea, right? So let's say here the outcome is, because like we're starting from outcome to inputs, the outcome actually is that they want to see an increase in, let's say, Tanzanian and African SMEs accessing affordable credit, right? And so then they have to figure out, well, what do we need to do for that? So they came up with a solution to actually disperse USDC on Stellar to 4 MFIs, which have over the past, I guess, the pilot period, which was from March 2023 to 2024, empowered 1,800 small, medium businesses with 250,000 USDC to predominantly women-owned businesses. And this actually has gone through a few different loan cycles as well. And then the activities to do so was to create critical products and services to be able to support that disbursement, as well as research and evaluation of over 700 MFIs in the region with detailed analysis of the top 100. And then the actual input was $125,000 in grant funding to actually create the to create the products and services, as well as $90,000 of their own loan capital allocated, and time and team effort. And so their long-term goal of the outcome, kind of what they're focused on, can be directly contributed to several of the SDGs. I know that, and I created 0.06% based off the baseline there. Again, like these are some of the very limited baseline metrics that we have, but it does give you kind of an idea how to think about creating a theory for change. And it's exciting too, because in the next, round, they will actually use DeFi on Stellar, so you can actually, as an individual investor, put in funding to support SMEs directly. Now, some of the next steps, because I only have a minute. We're looking to actually further some of the research around this and expand this exercise retroactively with award recipients of this year and publish it into a report sometime in early 2025. And to be able to actually proactively measure. We're looking to create a holistic framework and empower projects to create effective theories of change for their own use cases, as well as incentivize these activities retroactively, since it does cost a lot of time and effort to do so. So I'm very excited for the next year. Again, I will say, this isn't something that we'd like to do in silo, so we'd love to collaborate with aligned partners and anyone else who is really interested to also like join us in this research and activities. So thanks again. Yeah, here is also a QR code for some resources.